Holy cow!
if they could make this more complicated, I'm sure they would, but it's just such a pain in the ass
But
sometimes.
what are you using? OBS Studio?
OBS Studio going to YouTube, and that
Okay.
is so OBS into Facebook Live, that works great. OBS over to Twitch works fantastic. I haven't tried it with anything more complicated than that. I'm scared of Instagram, basically. But OBS over to YouTube has been a real pain in the ass, despite the fact that they have a very nice video hosting platform and it makes it pretty easy to work with.
I guess we're live right now.
We are absolutely live right now. If, if you're good, this is still just the preamble. We're still just kind of shooting the breeze for now. But I can start with the fully official because it's 8 o'clock, so I gotta start with the fully official. Get my mic ready and whatnot. I am Ross. Joining me tonight is my very special guest Norbert of the wait. Hang on.
Beer show and
Beer Show NB.
Beer Show NB.
I was like,
there you go.
NB Beer Show. That didn't seem quite right. So the Beer Show NB out of New Brunswick, and yes, despite the fact that it's a New Brunswick collaboration, I am attempting to drink Nova Scotia Dry. Norbert does on the occasion. You've probably had more Nova Scotia beers than I've had New Brunswick beers, but I did bring along. I managed to find my way into New Brunswick on a bit of a road trip, so I've got some New Brunswick beers to drink, and I'm excited.
Nice. You got what? You said you had some from Tide Boar and Graystone?
Two from Tide Boar and one from Graystone. And I think my Graystone is the coffee stout. I chose the background of the Graystone first because it is the lowest alcohol percentage, despite the fact that it's not where I would normally start. Because I've got a Pilsner, a triple IPA, and a coffee stout, which is all over the map.
Oof.
Right?
Start with the light one. Start with the light one.
Pilsner. I agree.
Yeah.
Fully agree there. I'll have to change my background. This is just fixing everything live. It's easy. Now,
okay.
When I mentioned I have not had many of the New Brunswick beers, but you've had, and I've been having a quick peek at the Instagram page. You've had some Nova Scotia beers. You've had quite a few, and do you have any favorites to speak of?
I like the beer from Nine Locks, Tedemagouche, Triders. That's basically some of those that I've had. Because here in New Brunswick, it's kind of hard to have some more New Brunswick beer, Nova Scotia beer. That I would like to have some more, but
wait a minute,
that's all we can get.
How far into
Big Spruce?
How far into the province are you there? Are you far from the border?
I am right now in Bathurst, New Brunswick.
Okay, so that's a little bit up the ways.
Yeah, a good 3-4 hours to go.
Is this what I wanted?
Well, 2.5, 3 hours.
There we go. There, now I'm in the Tide Boar.
Mm-hmm.
Because Tadamagouche and Triders up in Amherst. They're in Amherst, I thought. I've not enjoyed many of my Triders beers, but I think there was something where the light got to them or something happened. So I've had a tough time. I keep meaning to go back and try some more, but they're a little bit out of our ways. Tadamagouche, I have so many delicious ones from there.
Oh yes.
So I have to agree on everything there. But honestly, when it comes even to like a famous New Brunswick brewery or beer company, I have to admit that pretty much the ones in front of me right now, and Pump House. What did we have in Big Tide? Big Tide was at a St. John.
Big Tide, St. John. Yeah, you can only get it there.
Okay, because that's the brew pub, really.
Yeah.
I did bring some home one year, but I had to bring them home in the big growlers.
Yep.
So there's not many that I'm super familiar with, and I always feel like when I'm talking to, or we talk in the maritime craft beer channel, there's a group that talk about this. I feel very Nova Scotia centric, and so it's nice to branch out, especially. I can't wait to talk more about the fact that we both have a show where we sit and we drink beer and describe what we think about it, because I love to talk shop with someone who's
it's fun.
Do the same thing.
Sarah talk about Triders and Hammers, but not far from there, you got in Sackville, you got Bagtown Brewing. They have also good beer.
Just across there.
Just across in Sackville. And if you come up more like that, you got Riverview, you got Celtic Knot, Moncton, you got Pump House, you got Happy Craft Brewing, you have you got Flying Boats, Cavalcade, you got Tide Boar. So if you're coming up from Nova Scotia, in that area, you got all that.
Yeah. Well, is it much like Canada? New Brunswick has there's a larger population center at the southern part of the province than the northern. Yeah.
Correct. So here in Bathurst, we got 13 Barrels and 4 Rivers. If you ever come up here, you got to try it. 13 Barrels, they have the Dog Days IPA.
Mm.
It's 6%. I like it. It's right now between those two breweries, I like the Dog Days better because when I go to a hockey game or anything, that's what I like to drink.
Okay.
And
we've often said that we don't really like an over hopped beer with no real kind of body to it. It's just where sometimes they're just kind of spicy for no reason. But I've come around on a number of IPAs, and I've found that choosing my favorite IPA has become difficult and then easy. So I think it came down to I was choosing my favorite IPA, and I didn't like most of them, and then finally I was served one, and I said, okay, now I get it. This is the one that I definitely want to have.
talking about IPAs, a while ago you said hazy. You were talking about hazy. Right now, my favorite hazy IPA is not from New Brunswick, and it's not from Nova Scotia. It's from PEI.
Okay.
The Lone Oak Brewing, right off the bridge.
Mm-hmm.
Right off. It's called Fancy. It's a hazy IPA. That one, I totally 10 out of 10. Good juiciness, good, nice haziness. Citrus is awesome. It gives you like an aftertaste of sweet pineapple. It's very good. But not saying that New Brunswick also has good IPAs, but that one gave me an impression that I won't forget.
That happens where it's tough to make an impression once you've had you've got 300 episodes under your belt. You've got 1,000.
Over
1,000. We're only up to about 300 right now, but it's just it's tough to when eventually the only beers that make an impression are the ones that really make an impression.
Yeah, and I just forgot that. I just remembered Tuscan Falls Brewing. That one, they had a vanilla, I think it was a vanilla porter or something like that. I tasted, let me check.
We just had a stout from them last week called the Moonlight Rise.
Okay.
And it was so creamy. It was incredibly tasty. That one blew us away. I've liked a lot of stuff from down that way.
They have good beer. It's just a shame. It's just a shame that it would be fun. It would be like New Brunswick beer could go to Nova Scotia, and Nova Scotia beer could come here. But have more.
It's a shame they haven't just invented teleportation yet. That would be the easy thing, where you just beam your beer somewhere, and that would be that.
Yeah, it'd be like, hey, Ross, can you send me a beer from Nine Locks? Oh, here you go. There you go. Got it.
Done.
Yeah.
I thought I was all clever because I was looking up some old Instagram posts from Tide Boar. So my first one, I've got Tide Boar trying this one. It's just called The Pilsner. A very interesting depiction of it looks like, I don't know, a jester sitting on a cloud while the whole thing it's raining in multicolors. Maybe I'm not enough, well read to understand the reference. But I tried finding an announcement for it, and I thought I did. And it says, the Pilsner is finally available. But no description. There's nothing on the can. There's no description of it. And I'm finding something. The only thing I can find so far is that it's a Czech Bohemian Pilsner. So it was lagered for 3 months is the only other thing that I found. It smells delicious, tastes delicious. But like you said,
what? You're drinking that? I'm drinking. Well, I got 3 different ones too. Right now, I'm drinking Artisan Brewing Company from Campbellton, New Brunswick, my hometown,
Yeah,
where I come from. It's called North Shore. It's a session IPA.
that'd be pretty good.
And the one I was saying from Tuscan Falls is the Vanilla Milkshake IPA.
I didn't
That
try that yet.
that when I did the Fredericton Craft Beer Festival in 2020,
Hmm.
that's the one beer that stayed on my mind, and I wanted that. And the one I did a beer trade with Larry Payton,
Okay, I know the name. Yeah.
craft beer with me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he's out of Halifax, and we did a beer swap. I said I wanted that one, and I got it, and I did a review on it, and that was my date. I was like, I finally got it.
Well, did it taste the same? What did you remember? Was it just like you remembered when you tried it?
Exactly.
Ah,
But sometimes what we like to do, yes, okay, we drink it out of a can and we pour it in a glass, we taste it. But since we started our road trip series, fudge, 2019, 2020,
hmm.
we like to taste it from the can and the tap.
That would be
So we're
great.
like, yeah. So we make a comparison. We look at the episode and we say, okay, this is what we thought about it. Then when we film on the site at the tap room, then we taste it again. So yeah, we were wrong. It tastes better tap or it tastes better cans. But sometimes if they can it, something can happen to the can
Mm-hmm.
during the transport or
The
whatever.
the
Because
batching
I've
and yeah.
had, yeah, because I had some cans. It was all right. They looked okay, but it just underneath it or on the side, it had a little ding on it. Just that and the seal inside, carbonation. As soon as you open it up, and it tasted like.
When
But that's what.
and you probably get this the same way as I do. Is the benefit here? Me talking to you, I've got my co-host who's not available tonight. He's at work, but when talking to another person, two huge benefits there. One, if there's a huge discrepancy in the can, we've had the occasional night where I said, "Oh, this tastes so far off." He says, "Really? Mine tastes really sweet and delicious." And I said, "No, I'm not tasting a sweetness at all in mine." So something has gone wrong, and you can tell almost immediately something is wrong with one of these cans. And the other benefit that I always get from it is I sit there and I say, "This tastes like oh, it's a and I can't quite think of the word." And then my friends are saying earthy, and I say, "Yeah, that's the one. It tastes very earthy. It's got like kind of almost of a soil type of compound to it. Not this one. This pilsner is delicious. This is more like a very golden lager than a pilsner. I find pilsners often
Yep.
have a very tight flavor to them.
Yep.
If that's like a distant flavor, this one is probably about the most bold pilsner I've ever had. With the flavor is right up front. It says, "Here we are. I'm going to taste this way," and it doesn't even disappear on you. So
I don't know.
this has got a great
Even
flavor.
because even the session IPA I drank from Artisan, the hops is very like sometimes I like to rate my hops like from 1 to 10.
Mm-hmm.
If it's a 5, that's what I look for. If it's a 5, that's what I like. This one is like a 3 or 4. It's not too hoppy, and like from let's see, 0 is like nothing at all.
Yeah.
10 very hoppy. 5 very mild, very,
Mm.
very smooth. So that one's like more like a 4. It's a light taste. It's a light beer. It's a 4 point. It's a 4.3. So it's a very light beer, easy drinking on
Mm.
a warm day or next to a pool.
This is extremely easy drinking as well. And I was surprised because usually a Czech pilsner, usually a Czech, when they say it's something European, you'll get a little bit more of a fizz, a little bit more of a spice to it, a little bit more of a bite to it.
Yeah.
But this is just so incredibly smooth and easy and really well balanced. It reminds me of our favorite lager that you can get here in Nova Scotia right now. Burnside Brewing now. They changed their name, but
Inside.
and they do the Toller series with the dog on it, the Toller lagers. and they do a Toller Gold, and that is I always have a case of it over there in the closet. And right now it's no exception. It tastes just like that.
I just remembered another brewery in Nova Scotia we did, Bad Robot.
I love their beers, but second to that, I love their can design. Their cans
Yes.
are just they're so funky. They're so interesting, and it's funny because I appreciate what so Graystone, for example, where they've got a pretty it's a little bit different sort of pattern in the background, and then they've got just here is the stamp. This is what you're getting. It's the grind. It's the coffee stout. It's the percentage, and it's all right there. So there's a similarity, and I appreciate that, but at other times, I just appreciate the absolute bonkers, off the wall stuff that Bad Apple does. There's a picture and you're looking for it. Is it which one of these is the beer name? I can't tell. Is it the cloud up here spelling out this, or is it?
There is, like, with our experience, me and Joel, and we had our another co-host Simon. With our experience, is like you can have a nice fancy can, but what's in it? Nope. And you can have the most simplistic can. Let me see. I'll show you.
I fully agree, because we often say the can has nothing to do with what's inside.
No. So, like, I'll show you a can here from Union Brewing in Aramato.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very simple.
Yep.
This is a classic sparkling ale. And that is what Zach did. This is friggin' delicious. Simple can, but the product inside, delicious.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes you can have, like I said, very flashy, not good. Simple, very good. Sometimes you can get very flashy and very good.
Yeah. Where
so like
good robot do one, and one of my favorites is one of theirs, and it's the Mexican lager.
Yes,
it's the El Espinazo del Diablo, I think. And it's got this big cartoonish the devil's on it, like doing all this on the can, and that one is it's a surprise. I like that. I have turned people who swear they would never drink craft beer ever again, and then they just go right back to, I will only have my Olin's or my Moosehead. I will only drink that because I know it and I trust it. I have turned them with that Mexican lager because it's like nothing they've ever tried, but it's so fun.
I'm looking here at the Nine Locks Brewing. I did a watermelon blonde.
Mm-hmm.
That was good. That was delicious.
They do an entire series with their blonde, because I think that's all based on their Dirty Blonde, which is on its own is a really good blonde ale. And then they do a watermelon, they do a blueberry, and I think they do a couple of other fruit ones. But in the summer, they basically just take their blonde ale, which is damn near perfect, and they just flavor it up. And they say, hey, why don't you try something a little different when you're out on the boat at the lake, something this or that. I don't know. Vacation places.
There you go. Vanilla porter, Nine Locks.
Oh, I remember liking.
Like
that.
I said, I got a beer wall going.
My co-host Ian said, "It's too bad you haven't saved all the cans and bottles since the beginning." And I said, I don't think my wife would live with me anymore had I done that. I don't think I could make that collection. So what I've allowed myself to do, that one's over there, is I've started instead just collecting the glasses, the pint glasses, or the different, and I try to get a kind of a slightly unique one. So there's my Tuscan Falls one. I was going to put my triple IPA on it. There's one from Old Biddy's, which is no longer Old Biddy's, and I'm trying to collect a glass. So when I get to each location, so I've got one of each, and it's slowly growing. I think I'm at about 30 or so right now, but there's 70 breweries or 65 or so in Nova Scotia right now. So it's in progress, but I feel like I can have a shelf with 70 glasses on it, 70 pint glasses. That's not so bad. That's better than 300 cans and some of them are pretty tall bottles. I was talking to some friends of mine. I had guests on the show couple of months ago now, and they were telling me that they have what they think to be the most comprehensive and extensive growler collection for Nova Scotia craft breweries. and they have something like 70 some growl, like the big glass growlers. And they showed me they'd built this shelf in one room of their house, and I thought, I don't know how you get away with stuff like that if you live with somebody.
No, it's like I was telling you a while ago for the big wall I had
Yeah.
before. Like I sold them all for $80. But the way I set it up now, it's like it doesn't take space. It's glued on the shelf, going up and going coming down to my computer monitors. That's all I'm gonna have. Because I have a nice collection of glasses too, and some growlers, but that's all I'm gonna
I
get.
I thought about it. I definitely thought about it with the cans, and I often wondered, would it be better if you just sort of if you tin snipped and you could cut out that front panel, and then you'd have all the front panels, and maybe that would take up a bit less space. But I definitely have not collected all of the cans. I have everything written down. There's a digital copy, and there's mostly I think I take a picture most of the time, but there's enough. God knows there's enough video of me talking about this stuff the whole time. It's a long ass show. I'm I I am ready for input. I am ready for input now because I have two left. But the trick is, do you go to a coffee stout or to a triple IPA from a Pilsner?
Usually I would, because if you go with a coffee stout, then you get the roastiness and coffee. But it depends if you have barley in the triple IPA. Usually should have. But me, I have, well, if I go for a palate, I go from light to dark.
Same, but we also do a
Uh,
from weak alcohol percentage to strong alcohol percentage. We find that's
yeah,
a good way of doing things as
yeah.
well. Do
But
I have any? Yeah, here we
from
go.
from the Graystone, because the triple IP from Tide Board is a kicker.
It's 10. It's
Uh,
10%. Yep.
yeah, it's a kicker. I go with the coffee stout,
Okay.
but take a sip of water after.
I got some
Because
red here somewhere.
the triple AP is a kicker.
Do you know what's funny? A friend of mine was telling me that, or one of the guests we had on the show is one of the brewers, and we were talking about the fact that we had a sip of water just to kind of cleanse the palate in between. He says, "Oh, I find that the best palate cleanser in between trying beers is a good lager." And I said, "So hang
That
on,
too.
the best palate cleanser of beer is just more beer?" Fair enough. So honestly, I probably should have I should have stuck with it. Had the coffee stout first, had the Pilsner as a palate cleanser, and then moved straight up to the triple IPA.
Guys,
In
because
retrospect.
when we did our big ass road trip last weekend, we went to St. Andrews and we tasted it was good beer, but we wanted to cleanse our palate,
Hmm.
and so what we did, we tasted a sour. And
What are
after
your
that,
feelings on sour beer?
oh boy,
Yeah.
I'm very picky.
Okay. Okay.
Uh, show you another beer I'm drinking right now. It's from Village de Poirier in the Acadian Peninsula. It's a microbrasserie Houblon Pêcheur, Nigog. It has like a fish and a hop on a trident.
So, oh yeah, I see. Poseidon has caught a fish and a hop at the same time.
Yeah,
I mean, well done. Multitasking.
yeah.
We
So sour beers is no. I'm very picky. I've we sacrifice our taste buds for sour beers.
Yep.
I've tasted some, like Cavoquet has one. It's called Beige la Mer. It's a raspberry one. That one, I enjoy it.
I like it when they introduce a berry or a fruit that I personally like. There's a few. Cape Breton does a couple, and they do a blueberry one or a raspberry one, and that those are ones that I like. But when someone says no, this isn't actually a fruit specific one. It's just and then they say it's a kettle sour. Blah.
Ah,
I said, yeah, but then it doesn't. Oh, if it doesn't taste like anything, then what's going on? I've looked it up. It's everyone. They're all excited because it's one of the oldest forms of brewing. Now they're trying to bring it back because it's some
yeah.
of the original versions of brewing. And I think, yeah, but some of our original forms of meteorology were gutting goats on the lawn. So I don't see as that as
And
being a good thing to go back to.
and telling time, sticking a piece of wood in the ground, make some lines. Oh, it's 12 o'clock.
Exactly.
But my palate has changed a bit because now sour. There is one sour from Trilly. The can's glued right now. I like to show it. Well, what I'll do, I'll send you a pic of it.
Oh, that'd be good. Yep.
It's spooky. It's a blueberry. It's a candy sour, and it has the face hugger from Aliens on it. So just the can, I was like, okay, this is a point just for the can. Man.
Yeah.
I like Aliens and face hugger. Sorry, not face sucker. But
Potato,
the
potato.
taste of it, it was very good.
I
Candy.
this exploration has brought me to try lots of different beers. Now, people say things like, "Oh, were you gonna try cider?" And I say, "Ah ha 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 ha." Cider is not beer. I can draw the line right there. There's an immediate cider is not beer. I don't have, but I like ciders. But sours are considered beers, and we went, oh no, okay, we got it. Because the first time, my co-host and I, we both have the same story. Someone said, "Hey," or he said, "Hey, what's this thing you've got on tap?" It said this sour. And I'm like, okay, what's that going to be like? Like a lemony flavored beer. And we tried it, and it was just that same kind of, ooh, just a puckery. What is that? And we couldn't figure out what was going on. And ever since then, I have forced myself to drink them. My co-host has completely said, nope, I don't want to do it. I've talked him into it a couple of times. But my wife loves them. Loves sour beer. So that's the other step. We talked about driving around and the wives would come along for the ride and how they into not really integrate, but just support. Definitely support.
Yeah.
So much support from the wives. Support the endeavor of doing this, and the best, not the best way of supporting that, but one of the ways that I thank her for that support is I go, okay, I'm going to go into this brewery. I'm going to, pick up 3 or 4 different beers. And I will say, and if they've got a sour, yes, I will get it for you. So she has tried sours from all over, no matter where we go. She's in fact she's got a case that she's working her way through. She bought 6 sours. I only brought 4 beers back from New Brunswick, but she brought 6 sours back. She went in and she came out, and then I looked at her and I said, "Did you bring anything for me?" And she said,
No.
Anyway, I've got this one. This is my second one. Is the grind. The grind
Coffee
stout.
stout.
From Graystone Brewing, and Graystone is in Fredericton.
Fredericton.
So great grind coffee stout. This one has a description on the thing. So it is infused with local cold brew from Milltown roasters, creating a rich flavor, roasted aroma. Cold brews are higher in caffeine and lower in acidity, creating a wonderful pairing for this winter coffee stout. Well, it's August and I don't care.
Do you have people that associate stouts were late autumn to winter beer? But if you like stouts, you drink it all the time.
We had 2 stouts last week on the show because we are pretty much thumbing our nose at the number of tap rooms, breweries, and pubs that just do not sell a dark beer of any kind through the summer months. You can't get one.
Yeah, there you go.
You have to ask really, really nice, and someone will sell you some cans, or you buy them ahead of time the previous winter, and you have some cans on hand, and you save them. And I'm glad I did, because this is
kind of rich.
Yeah, it is a little rich. More coffee than roast. Usually when someone says a coffee stout, it comes through and you're coughing out the smoke. It's very just smoky and roasted, but There is
Yep.
definitely this is a cup of espresso is
It's
the flavor.
like we visited a new brewery in Hampton or Battersea. Anyway, tragically hopped brewing. They had a coconut brown ale that was good, but the coconut was overpowering the roastiness and it's a little taste of coffee in the brown ale.
Mm.
And then we tasted their stout. Their stout was good, a bit creamy, but I was like, hmm, something something's missing. So I went to see the guy. I said, put 50-50.
I was about to say if you combine the two of
I,
those.
I actually said that in the video before I did it. So I got up, got got a glass, 50-50, and everything was equal.
Yeah.
Coconut taste, coffee taste, creaminess, the roastiness is like everything was good. We did a sample with Amber, Joel, my wife, his wife. Everybody loved it. Those two beers was like fucking awesome, man. I don't. Oh, sorry for
Oh, I don't care.
the
I
F
just
bomb.
no, it's fine. There's one of the pubs down the road is actually one of the first beer makers in Nova Scotia. They predate Propeller, even though they weren't selling anything. But the Paddy's Pub here in the valley, they were making beer at their establishment all the way back to the mid 1990s. And they've got a couple of things on tap where they've got their cream ale, and then there's a Raven brown ale. But someone decided one day, hey, what happens if I had a half a glass of cream ale and a half a glass of Raven? So the brown ale and the cream ale, and you can just go in and sit down and say, can I have a Craven? And everyone knows what a Craven is. It's just an established drink in the pub now, and I love stuff like that where it becomes a story, it becomes part of the establishment.
It's like here in, well, not here in Bathurst, but in Tracadie, Acadian Peninsula, there's Brasserie de la Côte, and they have a classic rosé, and they have a Radler.
Ooh.
So when
heck yes.
Joel's wife combined both together, and we're like, there you go, very good.
Actually, no, I wouldn't say every now and then. Pretty often, Ian gets down to his last little, and he saves a little bit of everything, and then he says, "I'm gonna mix them together," and he always tries to put them together and try that and see what concoction that entails and enables. This remains coffee-ish. I don't know if it's just the fact that our coffee stouts tend to be a lot more roasty and not as much coffee flavor, but it's almost feeling like I don't feel like the coffee flavor is unwelcome. It's just, despite the fact that it says it's a coffee stout, I wasn't expecting this much coffee because maybe we just suck at making these here in Nova Scotia.
It's what you would think you would expect. It was a mix between coffee and roastiness.
Mm-hmm.
So you would get probably half, but that one has more of a coffee taste to it.
It does.
A bit rich, yes, but a bit more coffee.
But
so what I would do,
it's telling me that in the description though. It says this is infused with cold brew. This is creating a rich flavor, a roasted aroma. So it's telling me what I'm getting. Oh, here we go. Down at the bottom. Dark roasted malts give off coffee and cocoa with hints of smokiness. Pronounced coffee. Pronounced coffee. Yeah. Dark roasted malt flavors that contain hints of cocoa and caramel. Once I start looking for it, yeah, there's a sweetness, a tail end sweetness, but it says pronounced coffee. I'm getting pronounced coffee. I'm loving getting what I'm reading about. It's fun to drink a mystery. I went to a tap room down just outside the city. My new friend Ian Smith's not new, but he's been there for a while. The Tapestry beer bar down there, and he would put one in front of me, and he said, "Here you go." And I said, "What is this?" He says, "You got to taste it." And I tasted it, and I would try to describe what was going on. He said, "Yeah, you're getting what I was describing was what was the description of the beer. So I said, one, I feel pretty good that my taste buds work, and two, I feel great that their description was what I'm getting out of it.
Okay,
I'm always happy to get what's described.
there you go. So what did I think I've tried. Well, I did grind, but afterwards, what I did after, I had probably that much left. So I was like, I'm gonna try something. So what I did, I mixed from Moonshine Creek Distillery. They have a maple cream rum. So I added just a little bit to it,
Mm. Oh, a cream.
and
Okay. Yep.
yeah, maple cream rum, and that
Honestly, a shot of
that
Bailey's
was
and I'd be
freaking delicious.
happy.
Well, Bailey's that. There you
I'd
go.
be happy. But yeah, the really good stuff, the local distilleries with essentially what is a not flown from overseas Baileys.
Yeah, yeah.
We've got some beautiful creme liqueurs from a few places around here that are really good, and that would certainly hit the spot. No, don't get me interested in mixing and concocting and just mixing.
No, but I didn't put a lot, and plus what the one I had here was I think it was 15 or 20% or 25%. I just added just a little bit,
Now,
but it was freaking delicious.
Ian and I have this argument all of the time, and it surrounds the beer Corona. And I say Corona tastes gross. And he says, but you have to put a slice of lemon or a slice of lime in it, and then it's great. And I hit back with, if I have to add an ingredient that I have to go and buy and shop with my own money to your product to make it good, then your product is not good. That's where I land. I love the experimentation and trying different things. Let's add a little bit of this.
Oh, yeah.
You could take something from a 9 to an 11. That's fun. But where Corona is, this takes it from a 4 to an 8. And I feel like you've got a 4 out of 10 beer that you're just trying to gussy up because someone decided that you could just, Carmen Miranda it up with some citrus.
Corona was all right, but I like more Modelo.
Don't think
If I go to, I don't know, to a Mexican restaurant, we have one here. It's Mexican. Anyway, they have Corona and they have Modelo, but I like the Modelo better.
I don't think I've ever tried that.
It's a bit more crisp than the Corona.
Well, and this just comes down to, are there great beers, or are there just great beer marketers? Budweiser is not getting by on being the best beer. They're getting by on having the best beer campaign and advertisement.
Have you seen well, we all know what happened with Bud Light last year. They lost billions and whatever. But have you seen lately I don't want to talk about it. No, because on the show we don't talk about life events like that, or religion or politics, whatever. We keep it clean. We keep it biased. So, have you seen the song from Post Malone lately?
Wait,
Kid Urban?
We keep things non-political, but you want to talk about Post Malone?
No, but just to give you an example, that
Okay.
highly on commercials and advertisement.
Oh.
So go see.
I agree. Because what's the other one? Again, and it's arguable back and forth, but who's got a better presence, despite maybe not so much of a good content? And then you always get into the Drake conversation, or I've never been a big fan of classified myself. I think it's a bit. I don't know what a better word for basic is, but it just feels like I've heard a number of, and this takes us back to our music conversation from a long time ago. Ian and I get into talking about music all the time. His favorite musician of all time is Peter Gabriel, and he loves, and so we talk about that.
Okay.
But I have a small, large chip on my shoulder regarding the ECMAs, the East Coast Music Awards,
Okay.
because I don't think they're necessary, and I don't think they're very good. Mostly because if you're it feels like one of those consolation prizes. If you can't win a Grammy, then what do? You're as a Canadian artist, you come and you win is it a Juno? The Junos are the Canadian Music Awards? I don't know either. And if you can't win a Canadian Music Award and you're an artist out here on the East Coast, then you got to get to the ECMAs, and that's when you start winning. Hey, I've won 3 ECMAs. I said, yeah, but are you any good? Or are you just one of the 5 artists that seems to have enough money to get in the studio and put out an album? And I listen to it and I say, I guess it's okay. It's not wowing me. I'm not listening to Fleetwood Mac.
Oh, no.
I'm not listening to music that pushes, that is worthy of awards in my mind. But somehow they've just decided that we have to win awards because we haven't been winning awards.
Yeah.
And I think maybe it's okay if no one's been celebrating you for your mediocrity until now. Maybe.
That's how she goes.
And I love how I did my ECMA rant immediately after you said we don't get into topics of political whatnot. We wander around them. We dance around them and wander around and have a good time.
But did you mention advertisement that Post Malone and Keith Urban, perfect example? Was it pour me a drink or pass me a whatever? And everything that's in the background. You see in the background, you see them drinking in a truck on the stage. But I've went from Budweiser beer to Bud Light to Coors Light to craft beer.
Okay, you're gonna need to talk me through that one.
Because when I started drinking, it was Budweiser,
which was a totally legal age, and we can gloss over that. Absolutely, yeah, I'm with you.
Legal age.
Yeah.
Then I said, let's go with Bud Light, between Bud Light and Budweiser, and then I graduated not graduated, whatever, went to Coors Light, and then the first not craft beer, sort of, was a Guinness, a stout. So my friend gave that to me, room temperature. I took a drink, looked at him. What the is this crap?
It's like cold black coffee.
Yeah, I was like, cold coffee, I don't know. Cold brew, okay, yes, there. But brewed coffee to be hot, be cold, no.
Yep.
Then after that, I was like, okay. I started drinking a beer that was from Charlotte, New Brunswick. That's a Woodbury House, but it was anyway in Charlotte. I said, "Oh, craft beer, that's pretty good," and that introduced me to craft beer.
Okay.
So we started La Bière Chaud. That was only French. We had characters like my character was Norbert and Boozer. And we had another character was Simon, and he was doing Mayo, like from a Quebec sitcom, Elvis Gratton.
I'm probably not familiar, but I'm still back on the fact that the name of the show was Hot Beer.
No, Bière Chaud. Beer in French.
Right. Show.
Yeah. Show as being like beer show.
Oh, the show.
No, but it was beer. It's beer. Yeah,
Here's me
beer
being
show.
excited about flexing my translation capabilities and saying, "You've got a show called Warm Beer. Okay, I'm in. I'll watch. Sure."
Or you could say show as drunk,
Really?
but not that. No, yeah, you can say, j'ai assez bu, je suis chaud. I drank so much, I'm drunk.
Now is that still CHAUD?
Yeah, you could say that, but it's Quebec. It's chiac.
Okay.
J'ai chaud. J'ai chaud. I'm hot.
Yeah.
That's CHAUD. Show as drunk as could be anything. Depends how much you drink.
I have no defense on this because my lineage goes back. My parents are direct Scottish immigrants, so I listen
Okay.
to sort of the Scottish side of things. And my favorite euphemism for being drunk from Scottish is you are no longer drunk, you are pissed.
Yeah.
And I think as a Nova Scotian, that means that you're angry if you're pissed. I'm pissed. I'm not going to take it anymore. But over in Scotland, that means you're fall down drunk.
Well, then if you got, I'm pissed.
Yeah, I'm angry and I'm drunk.
I'm angry, drunk, pissed.
And I ain't going to take it anymore.
Yeah.
So
But
I'm curious about the light beer because when I first started drinking at a totally legal age, someone handed me an Alexander Keats, and it was I immediately wandered into the 5% beers.
okay.
And I said, okay, I'd have a few five. And in fact, it led me into things like a Rickard's Red, which was kind of a beer with a little bit more flavor, I felt, or just not quite as awful as some of the rest of the stuff. And then when someone finally said, "Ooh, here's a light beer," and I said, "Wait, 3.5?" And I was in math class at the time. I was studying math, and I was looking at it saying, 3.5 is a smaller number than 5. I will get drunk slower. So pass me the 5. I've never wandered towards the light beer. So was there a, I don't want to say reason, but was there was it the advertising that got you towards the Bud Light, the Coors Light, or was it just what was available, what was cheapest?
Cheapest.
Okay.
Because I'm from Hamilton, New Brunswick, and I don't know if you guys from Nova Scotia will know about it, because Hamilton has a border with Quebec. So Quebec beer is cheaper than New Brunswick.
Yeah,
So that's why we would go across to Cross Point, Quebec,
but
to get cheap beer.
Coors Light doesn't come from Quebec. But it was
I know.
it was the cheapest beer at the Quebec
It's
establishment.
cheapest.
Okay.
Yeah. Because if you take a 24 here at whatever 24 cans here in NB Liquor, you're 40-ish, close to $50.
Yeah, I'd say.
If you go to Cross Point, 30s.
That's a savings. However, no, could you go across to Quebec and get I'm this is flexing my only knowledge of Quebec beer, but what if you got a 2.4 of Fin du Monde?
That's probably
Probably back to the $50 mark.
Yeah, because there is some cans that there was from Naufrageur, from Carleton in the Gaspé Coast.
Yep.
I said, yeah, no, I ain't getting that one. I bought a few, but that one was $8. $8 for a can.
But it's 10.
Oh, it's
It's the numbers. It's the math. I was a math kid. I did not waste my time on this Coors Light stuff. The light beer and this is coming out a lot now with this whole session IPA. I'm not sure if you're getting it where you are, but they are becoming increasingly popular at a lot of the establishments around here. Oh, don't worry. We've taken an IPA. It's still just as, over hopped and gross tasting, but at least now it's only 3.5%. I said, guys, the fact that your IPA was 7% was the only thing that had me buying it. You know, I needed
Oh yeah.
2 of those in an evening and I'm good to go. But now I have what? Now I have to drink an entire and this I feel like it had something to do with, and I'm not saying anything personally, but there was something about how many beers could you drink type thing. There was a masculinity, a macho-ness
Oh yeah.
to, oh, I had, but and as soon as someone would brag to me, I had 17 light beers tonight, and I'd say, I had 4 shots of vodka. What are you talking about? I don't need this. I have mathed it out and I am saving money by not wasting my time on effectively 95% of a can of carbonated water.
Yeah, yeah. But like I said, the triple IPAs, I like double and triples. Like you want that one you have. 10% is good. There is a bottle. Let me show you.
Wait, it's glued. Don't try to remove the glued bottle. if it is indeed glued.
It's got that one.
It's gonna take apart his house.
I have a beer here. So far, it's the strongest one. The strongest one we've had on the show.
Okay.
It's from Zine Madeleine Islands.
Mm.
It's à l'abri de la tempête, microbrasserie. It's à l'abri de la tempête. Shelter of a Storm brewery. Anyway, Madeleine Islands is this one.
Oh, yep. 14 beats
14%.
It beats anything around here. They've started something at a few of the breweries recently that you can get. Like I say, they've brought out session IPAs, but then they sneak it at the back of the fridge and they say, hey, by the way, we've got this barley wine. And apparently barley wine is just another word for wicked strong beer.
Yep.
I'm into that. That's fine.
Oh, and that one was good. But there is one beer. I'm sorry.
Holy crap. Why is my phone ringing? That never happens. Go away.
There is one, well, 2 beers I would love to try.
Okay.
The strongest one in the world is Snake Bite. 67 or 65%.
I feel like that's no longer beer.
No, that's good moonshine.
That's just grain alcohol right there.
Yeah. The bottle last time I checked, it was around 80, 90 bucks.
Wow.
And another beer is from Australia. It's off Preservation Island, which a boat sank in 1700s. And it sank, and in 1990s, they went down to salvage what was there. And they actually salvaged a couple of bottles of beer that were still intact. So what they did, they cultivated the yeast from it, and they were able to do it.
You can do that? You can reverse engineer a beer from that sank under...
Well, they had yeast in it. Some was still alive.
Wow. Okay.
So they science cultivated and made more yeast, and they used the actual recipe of beer at that period of time, and they call it now the Preservation Ale. So that beer is, one bottle is $500.
Okay, well, luckily I'm still sticking to these ones. To these, this 10%. I get to do the 10% triple IPA Melting Mountains triple IPA out of Tide Boar. No longer on their website, but I did find it on an old Instagram update. Oh, that's La Classique.
La Classique from Tracadie Brasserie-la-Côte.
Okay.
It's a lager, a blonde. It's a blonde.
Oh, lovely. I feel like, no, I had a Pilsner that tasted like a blonde. That was one of the best Pilsner I've had, but mostly because it tasted like not a Pilsner. It tasted like some of the other, like a blonde, like a much more easy drinking. But the Tide Boar Melting Mountains, this is from, when was this from? March 19th. This was apparently their new one. Savor, a perfect blend of big hazy triple IPA. Yep, it's super thick. An insane amount of Citra Mosaic and Idaho 7 hops that brings out big citrusy flavor. Blah blah blah. Not much else.
Blah, blah,
We
blah.
we drank IPAs, didn't like them, and then suddenly I tried a double IPA, and I said, "Oh well, this is just going to be worse, but we got to try it," and learned that you double the IPA, you triple the IPA, and all of a sudden everything tastes amazing.
Yep.
So a single, like the regular single IPA, and I've had some good ones. There's some really good ones around. There's one in Stellarton that's one of my favorites at Backstage Brewing. It's a really small place, but for the most part, the single IPAs are they don't sing to me. But a double, a triple, this is where the flavor's at.
You're gonna like that one though.
I had one.
Told you.
Oh,
I like the strong stuff too.
Oh,
what we should do.
What is that fruit? What? Oh, that is. Oh, what is that? There's a stone fruit. That's not just citrus. There's like a tangerine. There's a sweet citrus that is not normally in each of these, and I found that the triples have really started doing it for me.
Yep.
Citra, Mosaic, no, Idaho 7 hops, maybe, but
we're gonna have to do a beer trade.
Yup. And I might, I don't know if I've got anything well, yes I do. There's a double orange, double IPA out of Unfiltered down in Halifax that I could definitely compare or send.
Oh.
But I'll make a list, and then if you've tried it, I'll cross it off. But if you haven't tried it, I'll try to send it. Because I've definitely got some favorites that we've tried, we've explored, we've done a few. Our other thing, and we haven't really talked about this, is on the show. I've tried basically since introducing my co-host Ian after episode 6. So the first 6 episodes of me just talking about, hey, look, it's a beer, and then I brought in Ian, and then we started bringing in, why don't we drink 2? So let's have 2 porters, let's have 2 pilsners, let's have 2 blonde ales, and a bit of a comparison. And it often gives a lot more to talk about. You find a lot more description, a lot more wording to compare the two. Say this one is more this way, this one is that way. And so of those 3, no wait, is it 300 episodes or 300 beers? Now I can't remember how many beers we've had, but we've had in a lot of the episodes, it's been 2 beers. It's been this beer, and occasionally, especially when we talk to guests, I have 3 because no one's stopping me.
There you go.
Is the short answer there. Oh, that was what I was going to say. The introduction where we're kind of talking about, where you mentioned a Bud Light to a Coors Light to a craft beer, and I still can't quite get that, because I skipped over the light beer. I went straight to the 5%, the Canadian, the Canadian, the maritime stuff, and we had the Alexander Keith's, the Moosehead, all that kind of thing. And then I found a Rickard's Red, and I said, yeah, there. Now I'm happy. I don't need to drink this other stuff anymore. And then I was at, again, Paddy's, the one of the first craft beer pubs. So they weren't selling it. They weren't putting it in cans or anything like that. It was all in-house. And I was sitting in there one night, and nope, there's no other way to describe it. A very attractive woman was drinking a nitrous-infused stout across from me.
Ooh.
And I said, what is that? And she said, oh, it's the stout. And I said, oh, no, someone has offered me Guinness before, and I didn't like it. It tasted... My initial response to Guinness was, it's cold black coffee. It's just room temperature black coffee. You can't feed me that. It's too bitter. I couldn't deal with it. And she said, you should try this. And I, 20-something-year-old man, was offered a beverage by an attractive woman. I immediately drank it on her suggestion, and I tried it, and I learned that nitrous stouts, yes. And this
Oh
one
yeah.
in particular, the one that they used to be, they don't make it anymore because nitrous is too expensive. But the Chimney Swift Stout from Patty's Pub, offered to me by an attractive blonde woman, is one of the greatest beer experiences, and it formulated pretty much the rest of everything. I said, fine, I will try this tasty beer, and I tried it, and I said, okay, not going back. Not going back to not drinking uncraft beer with unattractive women. That's it.
But like you're drinking at 10%. But
Also true.
what I prefer right now is the strong stuff. By filming everything that we filmed, double IPAs, triple IPAs, imperial stouts, imperial IPAs, name it. Me myself, I've learned to have I'll learn. My body is adapted to higher ABVs. So when I drink a session IPA or very light blonde beer or pilsner, it's like it's good, but it's like water.
I've found
Not,
I've had some good bodied lower
yes.
ABV ales, and I appreciate
Oh,
those. Really like
yeah,
them.
right
Eh,
there.
For example, the 4 point, which was that? Was that a 4.5? 4 point. It was beneath 5. That Pilsner, delicious. It was wonderful, fantastic.
Oh, yes.
And every now and then, one of them puts out try this session IPA, try this, what's the one? Tiny hoppy IPA and things like a 3.5 IPA. And I do try it, and it just doesn't have the body. But now and then they manage to put a body in a low ABV beer, and well done. And
Oh,
I like it, and
yes.
I have to say, yes, this is done well. Like you, it might not be that I only prefer a really strong ale. I think I just prefer an ale with a lot of body, a lot of presence, a lot of flavor. Just got a lot of presentation behind it.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna clarify a bit. What I was saying is, if I drink a Bud or Coors Light, eventually, sometimes I do. I admit it even on the episodes. If I like I said, I am adapted to higher ABVs and flavors, and like I said, high bodies. But when I drink a Bud Light or something like that, it's like water. It's it doesn't. Okay, you can drink it all next to a beach or something like that, but it's not something that I'm looking for. I'm looking for is like sometimes some nights I just like fuck. Sorry, I just want to drink IPAs. Some nights I just want to drink stouts.
Mm-hmm.
Some nights I just want to drink double IPAs. It depends on the mood or the situation I'm in. Like, I'll give you
Yep.
an example: the watermelon blonde from Line Locks. That I drink. It's a light beer, but I drink it. It's
We
very good.
we've referred to beers sometimes as situationally, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
Where I have a list of beers that are my lawn mowing beer.
Yeah.
I go out, mow the lawn, and it takes me sometimes an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours, and you come in, and all you want is a nice crisp, really lager with a golden edge, and that's why the Toller
Right.
lager is in there. But I have had an experience. My daughter was invited to a birthday party. She was younger. She was maybe about 10, 11 years old. We were invited to a birthday party, and it was taking place in a park. This park was at the top of a hill. So you had to park down at the bottom and climb all the way up this hill. It was about a 20-foot climb and something like I don't know, 25, 30% incline. We got all the way up to the hill, got up there. She was excited to see her friends and all this and that and this. Another dad came over to me and he said, "Do you want a Bud Light Lime?" And In no other circumstance in my life would I have felt like I needed to have a Bud Light Lime, but after spending 25 minutes climbing this friggin' hill up to this playground, that was contextually the best beverage I've ever had.
Yeah, there you go.
at,
Like you
at,
say,
at the end of a sunny, hot walk to the top of a hill.
depends on the
It
situation.
does. It hit the spot. I've got a good friend of mine, and he loves all of these beautiful craft beers like me. And I don't I don't try to crap on everybody. I crap on people that have too much money to not be crapped on. So I will crap on Bud Light Lime because or Budweiser because they've got more lawyers than I have hairs on my head. So I feel like they're perfectly fine getting dissed by me with no following and whatnot. But my friend goes out and he plays hockey late at night. And he says, we go out to hockey and then we have a big hockey game for an hour. We play out on the ice. And there's always a guy with a cooler full of Bud Light. And I say, in my happy little, drinking craft beer in a comfortable environment, I say, gross. And he says, nope. After an hour on the ice, nothing tastes better than a Bud Light. And I said, oh. So contextually, you can have the wrong beer at the right time and it can taste great.
An hour of hockey, drink sour beer.
Oh, the sours.
No.
I have, and it's the opposite of soured my mood. I have softened my stance on a number of sours because there's a few around here and they're tasty. And my wife loves them. My co-host does not, and we go back and forth. But they're part of the industry, and they're part of the summer. It's a summertime beer, and honestly, when you're in the throes of heat stroke, sitting out on the patio, being fed overpriced nachos, a sour does taste great.
What would be your favorite style?
I might be drinking it right now in the triple IPA, but I'd like to say also the Russian Imperial Stout and the triple IPA. Oh. So I might be like you. We might be very similar in our affinity for the stronger beers. I do have a couple of cask aged whiskey cask aged very very limited edition releases from a few of the local wineries, distilleries, and I've got them. We're doing them on special next week, and I did get a bit of a sneak preview of it, and honestly, slightly disappointing. Just a little watery.
Okay.
The whatever it was that they put into the whiskey aged cask maybe wasn't what needed to pick up what was happening. But and I'm not sure if it comes down to a mathematical side where I say, okay, if I drink 2 glasses of 7% alcohol as opposed to 5 glasses of 2% alcohol, then I will get, and am I mathematically more drunk than I was at the beginning of the night? Hang on a second, let me do the calculations on this, and what is the integral and the reverse derivative going on here? That mostly stops happening after a while. But I do prefer to have a stronger beer, and my co-host Ian gives me a hard time because he's British. He comes from across the pond, English. He says, "Oh, but Guinness, the stout, it is, that's the benchmark, and it's 4.5, 4.8,
about that, yeah,
a little below 5. Not that a half a percentage or 0.2 of a percentage makes a huge deal, but I often say, if you want to be a beer that impresses me, you have to at least start at 5.5."
Yeah. Because to me, the way I like to have a strong beer is after if I have a nice hefty supper, a lot of meat, a bit of grease, night,
Like the
something
reverse
very,
hangover.
yeah, something very hefty, very filling. After that, double IPAs, triple IPAs, I can drink. I
Now,
have no problem.
you mentioned Tatamagouche.
Yes.
Vickers Cross.
Oh, yes, I got it.
Is it up there?
Yes, it is.
I
And I have one from Boxing Rock, Marzen Equinox.
The Vickers Cross was, I think, my first introduction to a double IPA. But the other one that I found it was available in our liquor stores. It might still be, was again from Tatamagouche, and I think it's a 6.6%, but it's a red ale called the Butcher Block Red.
Ooh. Now you got me that.
Is that not
The
there?
red ale. No, it's not.
I drank. I specifically bought myself something like like 8 of those for my birthday. One last year, or the year before, and I just sat down. I was like, I am drinking Tatamagouche's Red Butcher Block Ale, and I'm drinking that, and I did. Because I really liked what it was doing. It's not your standard red. I don't know if you have like an Irish red ale. It's like a slightly more bold amber, but not thick, not heavy, not anything like that. And they took it from about a 5 or a 5.5%, and it's about a 6.6. So it's just a slightly more. It's got more body, a bit more spice to it. It's just kind of, and it tastes like someone has really put the Montreal steak spice on your steak. That's about the only other way that I could put it.
Okay.
I'll send that one. That's one of my favorites. And for
Cool.
some reason, it remains in the liquor stores, because usually whenever I find a favorite, gone.
Done.
Because
I have a.
do you suffer the same thing I do, where your tastes and your preferences aren't everyone else's?
Sort of. Like as we were talking a while ago for the Hammond River, for the Quicksand Jesus, and you just said, like, finally I found something that it's a whiskey barrel aged imperial stout. Finally, something that my palate loves. Brewery closes.
Yeah.
That, like, I know somebody that has a bottle that's been sitting in their shelf for 2 years, sorry. And, well, I might ask her if we can share it. But
Is she an attractive blonde woman? Because I might call dibs.
She's a redhead. She's an amber.
I've only once had a had a slight dalliance with the redheads.
There you go. And as
ones.
you said, yeah. Favorite beers, like your double IPAs, triple IPAs. My go-to double IPA. If I drink another double IPA, I base my taste and my hopes up on this one. It's from Long Bay Brewery. It's called the Dragonfly IPA. Dragonfly double IPA. It comes in a 355 milliliter can.
Ooh.
That is the best double IPA I've tasted so far.
Long Bay. Where?
That is in Rothesay. ROT. Oh, fuck. Don't ask me to spell right now.
I'll look up Long Bay. It shouldn't be that bad. So, but
Yeah.
well, now I know. Now I know that I'm going to send you some things. I will send you my favorites of the strong stuff, and I do have some favorites. There's a wonderful double IPA out of one of the Halifax breweries that I just found a couple of weeks ago. It is excellent. I wish I could conjure back from the dead. Ian and I talk about this one all the time. The Russian Imperial Stout from Bad Apple Brew House. When you cracked the can, it was a Russian Imperial. It was a chocolate stout. Have
Ooh,
Have you ever had a chocolate bunny at Easter time?
yes.
When you crack the can,
Smells like it.
it's a chocolate bunny from Easter time.
Ah, that-
It was outstanding. That was the one for us, that chocolate one. But Roofhound up the way in Kingston, they do some. I haven't cake again. Birthday wise, what did I buy myself for my birthday this year to drink? A case of 12 Imperial Brown Ales from Roofhound up the road.
Ooh, Imperial Brown Ale.
An Imperial at 7%, I think it is. It's an Imperial Brown, and that is tasty and smooth. It's something else. So I'll now.
That is actually something we didn't do on our show. Imperial Brown Ale.
I They're the only one I
That
found.
ah
So I'm
ah
and that has come back to haunt me a few times as the comparison thing, and then something will stay in there because it's the only.
yeah.
We found there was Propeller put something out recently last year called the
Propeller
White
Brewing.
Stout, and I said, "What's a white stout?"
White chocolate.
Nope.
No.
It's paler than this. It looks like that Pilsner that I had earlier, but it
Okay.
tastes like a stout. It's the strangest experience. But finally, we found another, North Brewing out of the city was doing a white stout as well. It's not even a category on the Canadian Brewing Awards. It
Nice.
it defied logic. It was the strangest experience, but it was strangely tasty. It was very odd. One of those things.
What I'll do, I'll send you, actually from Northern New Brunswick, I'll send you some samples from Northern New Brunswick, and I'll send you one from actually Quebec.
Ooh,
So you'll have some different samples
yeah.
from New Brunswick and Quebec.
Oh, man, I gotta get on this. This is gonna take all of my cognitive abilities tomorrow morning. But no man, thank you so much for coming in and talking to us. I hope I will stay in contact because I want to know more about how the Beer Show NB conducts itself, what you do, because you go to locations like we kind of occasionally used to do. You invite in guests, which we do, and this kind of crossover thing, it was the most fun for me because I feel like outside of where I limited myself to Nova Scotia breweries just because I thought I didn't want to drive any farther than that. But every now and then we do get out to New Brunswick because my daughter plays a lot of sports. I want to thank you so much for agreeing to come and be a part of the show. Thank you for being here for this live show that has been going on for a little bit more than an hour, but that's okay.
Hey man, it's like
I'll edit it down.
stuff like this we could talk all friggin' night.
And that's what gets. I don't know how we condense ourselves down to 1 hour, but it's a thing that
I know.
But if you now you guys are predominantly located on Facebook, is that right? The Facebook and
Facebook, Instagram, YouTube.
Do you know the YouTube URL? Is it YouTube/Beer Show NB?
Beer Show NB.
Okay.
Everything's Beer Show NB.
We're Drink NS Dry. You can find us on all the
There
other
you
stuff.
go.
And then Drink NS Dry and the podcasted locations as well. So the podcast is up, and the abridged, the edited down versions when I get around to them, they go up on the YouTube page as well. The Instagram and TikTok and whatnot, all that kind of nonsense. But you can find us, and we're back here every week. Next week, I'm back here with and Ian is joining me once again. Back next week. So join us again, and thank you for tuning in.
So how about we do another podcast once we actually get our packages?
Yep.
You get your beer, your New Brunswick beer. I get my Nova Scotia beer, and we'll set up a date, and we'll actually do 3 reviews of beers on
I
that
was
night.
gonna say that sounds like 2 more shows. So we'll tune in and we'll talk to you
Whatever.
about the Nova Scotia ones that we sent you, and you'll tune in and we'll do the ones about the New Brunswick ones.
That would be excellent.
There's so much delicious beer. Absolutely. Okay. We
Oh,
will.
yes. Well, thank you for inviting me.
Thank you for being here.